Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog in the animal.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my friend who loves a little bit of chaos. It's Frank. How are you today?
I'm doing well, but this is not... So I'm a variant. I'm not the usual Frank who's here, so I have no context for any of this. Do I drink beer and then become a geek? I don't really understand how this works.
No, you have to be a geek already. The beer is just a bonus. It doesn't it doesn't really need to happen.
So I'm the cool variant who just plays sports and doesn't know anything about geeky stuff. So I can rattle
get out
off
of here. I'm not interested in talking to you.
Yeah,
Hazing, get out of here.
I'm the Richard E. Grant version of Frank who
I'd rather talk to that guy.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing?
Anyway, I'm good. I'm doing well. What are you drinking today? Which I assume you actually are drinking a beer.
I am indeed. I am drinking a Great Rhythm North Beach Lager. It is a Mexican style lager from the Great Rhythm Brewing Company of New Hampshire. And this beer is inspired by unforgettable moments shared with friends, our passion for music, and our endless pursuit to create the most flavorful beer to complement all of life's adventures.
Sounds fun.
Great. It is an awesome, light and flavorful lager, very much in the tradition of a Pacifico or a any other. Corona is the one I'm looking for. The classic Mexican style lager. So it's great. It's really, really, really nicely balanced and malt forward, and I really enjoy it.
That sounds excellent. The Mexican lager is excellent and should never be underrepresented. Like, it is so very delicious.
Yeah, it's honestly sort of an underrated style of beer.
Oh, well, yeah, I agree with that. Because I am a true agent of chaos and a variant, am not drinking a beer. I am drinking a Polar Seltzer, the strawberry margarita flavor.
Ooh, okay. So it has alcohol
overtones.
Yes, overtones. It's aspiring to be a cocktail.
That is correct, even though it is not. And to go even further down the variant line, it's a skinny can,
nice,
not a regular can.
Nice. So just really throwing it off there. No, that's cool though. I actually Polar does some really very interesting flavors, and that's a good one. The unicorn, it's called Unicorn Tears. I
don't know that one. Unicorn Tears.
That's a really good,
elusive.
Yes, that's a really good one. That only Unicorn Kisses. Unicorn Kisses.
Oh, that sounds better.
I use my one lookup, but that one only comes in tiny little cans. The little 8-ounce tiny cans that are like the skinny cans, but really short. Yes, Unicorn Kisses, and it kind of tastes like bubble gum flavor.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, that one's good. I like that one a lot.
Let's go to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie.
No, leave me the hell alone.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about Charlie the Unicorn in so many years. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
You know who actually reminds me of Charlie the Unicorn is Roy. Is it Roy from Ted Lasso? Roy Kent.
Roy Kent.
Yeah, it's the same personality.
Totally is the same personality, yes.
Roy, let's do something fun. No, leave me the hell alone.
Oh my gosh.
Did you start season 2 of Ted Lasso?
I have not yet. I'm probably going to start it tonight after we get off the air.
Nice.
Have you started it?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we are. I think we did day. I think we might have done day of
nice
for the premiere in our house. Maybe the next day. I can't remember because we're watching Schmigadoon at the same time. So it's like
we're going to start that soon too. We talked about it. So
Yeah. Well,
cool,
like you have like all these like months where you're like, I don't have anything to watch. And then all of a sudden there's like 4 things to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, space it out, people. It's the same network.
I know.
Even with Apple, it's the same thing.
Right.
But you know what? A couple weeks ago though, we had Loki, which was excellent. We haven't talked about that yet, so maybe we should talk about that.
I'm down with that.
Cool. Let's talk about it. What did you think?
I really liked Loki. I really, really liked Loki. I was immediately in on like Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, and like off the bat they had me at hello, but as it kept going and like evolved and like descended into true chaos, I loved it more and more as it went along. Really, really, I think this is my favorite of the 3 Marvel Studios shows so far.
I'm hearing that a lot. I do not share that feeling, though I very much liked it. That's not to say, but I don't know if it was my favorite. They're all so different that it's kind of hard to compare, even though they all take place in the Marvel universe, but they're not really anything alike. They're dealing with different concepts. The tones are vastly different. Not even wild, they're vastly different from each other. They're weird comparisons.
But so are the movies, right? Like the Marvel movies are like different genres, different themes, different stories. Like they're linked together, sort of somewhat loosely by like, yeah, they're happening in the same universe. But honestly, if you really look at it, like you've got a spy movie here, you've got a buddy cop movie over here. Like you've got all these different genres of movies that are happening in the same universe, and the TV series are just that expanded.
It's true. No, that is true. I just, maybe because there's only 3 of them, it's like hard to,
okay,
it's hard to mix and match. But anyway, that's not the point. It's very good. I didn't know what to expect when it started because I purposely kind of just tried to like, yeah, it's coming out, I'll watch it. That's all I really need to know. I find modern trailers to not sell things very well. Like they either sell the wrong product or they give everything away, and so I try to avoid.
I agree.
For properties that I really care about, like I'm just not.
I'm finding, like I mentioned, I said on the show, I didn't really watch much of the promotional material for Black Widow. I didn't really watch much of the promotional material for this show either, because I just I know I'm going to watch it. I know that I'm bought in on sort of the larger universe, so I'm going to watch it because I want to stay up to date on it. So I don't need to watch the trailer because I'm going to watch the show either way. Why like either get the wrong preconceived notions because they thought they had to market it a certain way, or sometimes they give away too much. Like I just decided not to really watch anything. So I didn't really know much of anything coming into it.
Yeah, and truthfully, the show really takes a lot of different spins or twists through it because it starts and you're like, oh, okay, Zodiac Silence of the Lambs vibes. Okay,
right. Not
what I was expecting. And then like a couple episodes in, it's like, no, just kidding. It's actually apocalyptic vibes. And then it's romance. And then it's this and it just kind of keeps going and going and going. And it's cool. I mean, Hiddleston is such a good actor that I think that a lot of the show just rests firmly on whether we care about Loki or not, or can forgive him his sins. I think that makes a huge difference because Loki is, I mean, they go through a point of saying many times, he's actually, like, Loki's not a great person. Like, he's done awful things. And by him being this variant that actually has really he has yet to do many of those awful things. Like, yeah, there's the attack on New York, which is, probably his worst atrocity, but like,
sure,
he does other stuff in other movies that like we have to, forgive him for. And so like, but for the first episode, especially, it kind of goes through like the fun side of Loki before he snapped. Like he's DB Cooper.
Yes, that was so fun.
Yeah, like that's really fun. Like that's like I lost a bet to Thor.
Yes.
You know, which I also love that, like, which is why Loki was weirdly better with technology in Avengers or like the modern world than Thor was, because like Thor just didn't care about what was happening on Earth, and meanwhile Loki's like, I've been here a couple times. I'm actually pretty caught up. I know how this works.
Right. You're just now discovering you like this drink and you want another? Please, I'm way ahead of you.
Yeah, been there, done that. And I love that. I love the thing with Sif, you know, the memory where like it keeps like one.
I love that Jamie Alexander came back for that.
Me too.
Because she's like off on her own thing, doing her own show on NBC and all of that. Like she's a star.
So still going. She's got all the tattoos and the memory. And, oh, good. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good.
So she's got her own career now. Like Marvel is way in her past at this point. But I love that she came back and did this. And it was like, you know, a pretty big. It wasn't just like a cameo. It was like for an episode, it was a pretty big role for one episode.
I agree. But my favorite part about that, apart from, you know, her coming back, is that it's actually like a mythological tale that they did that's real. Like Loki cutting Sif's hair is a thing.
That's one of that.
That's one of the main Norse myths about Loki, is that he's like, haha, I cut her hair, she loved it, and now Thor doesn't like her because her hair is short. Haha, I'm the god of mischief. You know, he's so funny.
He's alone and he always will be.
Oh my gosh, the Norse myths, they're something else. But yeah, but like I love that they utilized that they're like, you know, because like when Thor first came out, they like tried to separate themselves from actually being Norse anything, and they've like slowly put that back into the show. And I just love that they're like, Loki just literally threw that stuff right into the mix.
That's super cool. That's super cool. So yeah, I didn't even know that, but I love that. That was not even the aspect of the show that most drew me in, though. Was it the
70s aesthetic?
It was the 60s, 70s aesthetic of the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect that. Didn't really know about that piece. Again, didn't really watch much in terms of trailers and promo stuff, but I loved that mid-century modern aesthetic that so much of the show had. Production design, like, this is my favorite. Give this all the Emmys for production design, in my opinion. Like, I think that is just brilliantly done. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely loved that aspect of the show. But the TVA as a device, as a plot device, and as a mechanism, I really, really dug it, because it wasn't very long before I started to be like, okay, so this is all made up, right? Like at some point we're going to find out that these, was it the Guardians?
The Timekeepers. Yep.
Are not real, because like there's just all this like, well, the Timekeeper said so haha. Like, okay, at some point, obviously, like
I think it was first or second episode, I was like, that's not real.
That's not real. No,
that's not.
Real.
No, that's total Wizard of Oz, man behind the curtain.
Absolutely Wizard of Oz, and they have actually said that was an inspiration for.
Oh, you could tell in the Timekeeper's like the way that they enter the Timekeeper's chamber and what it looks like, and it's a big pyramid structure, and like that's all Wizard of Oz, and I love that, because like they took like the violent path towards the Wizard of Oz instead of like, okay, Wizard, we'll do what you say. They're like, cut off the wizard's floating head and see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What were your thoughts on sort of we have control of time travel and sort of the chaos that comes out of that? Like, because we can control time travel, all of these, like the branches and the variants and the events that the Nexus events that come out of that. What did you think of that as sort of a, sort of cohesive storytelling device, and sort of how the fact that we can control time travel now necessitates all of these things?
I thought it was smart in an overarching keep the universe contained thing to like explain maybe explain some things that didn't exactly work, or it's the ability to retcon some stuff, and to allow, certainly at the end, for complete and total devastation, right? And like, now anything's game, to give us phase 4. That's what Loki basically, it does a lot, but it sets up phase 4 perfectly. Like, this is, every movie is going to be dealing with this outcome. We know that Kang the Conqueror, the ultimate time traveler of the Marvel Universe, is the villain of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, most likely because the TVA is in the quantum realm, right? Time moves differently here, and blah, blah, blah. So that's probably where they are. And I just like that it's all, that all connects together as an event. And it also allows for characters, fun variants to appear when the time calls for them, right? You don't think that the multiple Spider-Men that are probably Spider-Man, what are they? It's like the last name Spider-Man, the multiple Spider-Mans.
It's actually Spiders Man. Weird, but it's like Attorney
Spiders.
General.
Oh, okay, great. Spiders Man. The multiple. Actually, I think that kind of works. The multiple Spiders Man that will appear, like, they're all variants, right? And so that's technically what that is. We were introduced to all these variants of Loki. And then obviously all the TVA workers are their own variants. And so now we're very comfortable with the term variant. They throw it out there all the time. But now time is already different. By the end of the show, it's already wonky, and like, they don't know who Loki is. And there's only the one Kang, or, it's not really Kang in this show. He's a variant on Kang, right? Or, so Imodus whatever.
What do they call it? He who is left, or he who remains?
He who remains. Yeah. He who remains. So, which is great. I like that. I thought that was a very cool concept. Jonathan Majors, I thought, did an awesome job.
He was great.
He was very engaging.
Yes, captivating. I love the concept that the whole mastermind behind the whole Timekeepers thing and the whole illusion, the whole TVA illusion, is somebody who, it makes perfect sense that the reason there's a sacred timeline is because there is one person who wins in that timeline. Like, there's one person for whom this timeline benefits him the most. And for him,
it's truly history is written by the winner.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He won this version of history, and now he's fighting to keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the implication that, no, guys, really, I tried every variation, and in every other one, it doesn't go well. So, like, trust me on this. You want this. And it's like, do we want this, or do you want this? Is it in your best interest for there not to be any free will? And
it's a really ethical question, right?
Very compelling.
Like, is it the best, or is it the best for you?
For you.
And those are two different things. But maybe the best for you is also the best for 99% of the people in the universe.
Maybe
not.
We don't know. And she is so devoted to the idea of free will, and of, like, honestly, she almost doesn't care in the end if he's right or not, because it's the principle of people should have a choice.
Correct. Talking about Sylvie, right?
Sylvie,
yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Sylvie feels that they should be able to make their own mistakes in a way. Like, they should be able to make choices, and if they're the wrong choices, they were their choices. And no one should be able to dictate to them what their choices are.
That's true, but in some ways, that her letting all hell break loose, she has actually made a choice for everybody else.
Sure.
And so, like, she's culpable in the same way that Imodus, he who remains, whatever, is, in the same way.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the same way. At least she's still responsible for making a decision for many, many, many people.
It's such
one that might actually be worse.
It's such an interesting sort of paradox, and interesting ethical question. And that's the kind of thing that, like, I love that they explore those kinds of, like, we're talking about free will. Here is a comic book TV show where at the end of the 8 episodes, it's all a question of, like, what is free will, and what does it mean to have free will, and is it better to have free will, or is it better to have someone tell you turn off your brain. This will be good for you. Like, it's such an interesting philosophical question that I wouldn't expect a comic book show to be asking.
I would expect a comic book to ask this question, but not a show.
Exactly.
I think that's what you're going for.
I would expect I would expect a Grant Morrison comic book to ask that question, but I wouldn't expect a mass market comic book superhero TV show to ask that question.
Right. Yep. I agree. What actually was struck so much about the aesthetic of this show is that it's not really designed to sell toys.
Yeah. No.
It's orange and brown and kind of dull looking and dark and, dull in a sense that it's not bright and
I understand.
Like Avengers colorful.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was fascinating where like your market is not like what kid is going to sit down and be like, can't wait to watch Loki.
Right.
Like that's not your market anymore, and they know it. What I find so interesting. Like they make some of the movies are for, they sell the toys. They're for fun. They're for this, but they know the box office is down. It's actually being it's not kids. It's being driven by adults who are really interested in this. I wouldn't say it's not deep. Like I don't want to we shouldn't get the Loki thing and it's just the new member of the Criterion Collection Loki.
Sure.
It's philosophy 101. It's not even 102. It's like it is as bare a concept as you can get. But the fact they're even bothering to ask those questions and to make it part of a timeline or to make it part of a storyline rather, like that's really good. Really good. And for there to be actual consequences by the end of the show, I thought was really fascinating.
Did you watch The Good Place?
First season.
Okay.
First season. Yeah.
Because that show did a similar thing where it got very philosophical and it got deeper than this did. Way deeper than this did. But it was a similar thing of like a sort of a slow rolling start on that train. And then by the end of the series, it was basically a philosophy course wrapped in a sitcom wrapper.
Wow.
And this is sort of a similar concept, not at the same pace, not in the same way, but it is sort of we have philosophical questions we want to pose to you and make you think about, and we're wrapping it in a superhero comic book wrapper. So it reminded me of just that aspect of The Good Place. I also felt like, so you've got the time travel aspect, you've got the good versus evil, the philosophical, you've got the sort of domino effect of one event affects the other, affects the other, affects the other. And then we have we need to save time, right? Like we need to save time from someone who wants to destroy time, right?
Right.
And all those factors made it feel very much like Doctor Who to me.
Total Doctor Who. Sure. I can get behind that. Yep. Here's the different versions of reality. Here's this new planet. Here's this new thing. We're going in this time. Yep. I get that.
Total like Doctor Who. And actually, it's funny because I hear the next season of Doctor Who is going to follow rather than doing they usually do sort of episodic, like, okay, one different adventures every episode. Apparently, this next season of Doctor Who is going to follow one season-long arc all season long, which is different for them.
That's massively different. I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like this is from a similar. It's not the same story, it's not the same thing, but it's from a similar place. It's from a similar style. And so I thought it was very, very interesting from that point of view. And I was curious what you'd think about it, because I know you're not the biggest fan of Doctor Who, but I wondered what you would think about it because it has all these other elements that you are familiar with and that you do enjoy. And sort of if it's a story you enjoy that happens to be similar to Doctor Who, would you still, appreciate it? And it sounds like you did.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But it's funny that, like, remember when I said I was not lukewarm on this, but there was part I just couldn't wrap my head around some things that I just didn't love. And like now you saying like it feels like Doctor Who was like maybe that was it. Maybe that was the thing that I couldn't connect with. It was a little too Whovian for me.
Interesting.
So I don't know. There was a lot of talk from fans about Sylvie and how cool she is. That was pretty awesome.
She was awesome.
Yeah, I saw an article. I don't know if you caught this. That Marvel, she had just given birth pretty recently before filming, and so Marvel specifically made her suit capable so she could breastfeed while filming, like the way that it like could unzip her and all that stuff. And I thought that's cool. Like, good for Marvel for being like, we're going to accommodate your needs, because 20 years, 30 years ago, they're like, gotta pee in a suit, too bad,
right?
Wait till it's off. Gotta poop in the suit. We got stuff to film.
That's really great.
Yeah, I thought that was. I mean, I shouldn't even say that. I mean, Christian Bale couldn't even go in his suit, so it wasn't even that long ago.
Right?
But,
yeah, no.
But I just thought that was. I thought that was great, and just something that, like, there's a reason people keep going to work for Marvel.
Yeah,
and it, it's not just because they make money. It's because they actually seem to care about the people that work for them.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I thought that was really nice. But people, there's a love story aspect right here, and it's Mobius and his jet ski, or his phantom jet ski.
Yes.
And
Mobius and his
also,
strip.
Exactly. I did love the name Mobius. I just love that was a great time pun.
Yes.
And so when you find out that he's like a variant of somebody else, and they all have these fake names, and they're created, I was like, oh well, at least your name makes sense now, because what parent names that kid Mobius? Yeah. But Sylvie falling in love with Loki, Loki falling in love with Sylvie, and they're just variants of one another. So it's Loki falling in love with himself. I thought that was some of the best writing Marvel has put out, because Loki is 100% narcissistic, 200% narcissistic. He's in for himself. So of course Loki falls in love with himself.
Of course.
And that was the best thing. I loved that. So I just was so on board for that. I was on board for that. That Loki's part of the LGBTQ plus community. Like boys and girls, and like that's all on brand Loki for me.
Very much so.
Like not even just MCU Loki, like mythological Loki, comics Loki, like all of it. I'm on board. That was great.
Just in general.
Yeah. It's great understanding of their own character.
Yes, and that's Marvel is so good at that. They are so good at. They have been so consistently good at, with very few exceptions, understanding like what really makes a character tick, and being able to tell a different kind of story with that character, because it still goes back to the basics of this is what they're about. And it's like, this character was first written in the 40s in a World War II context, but we can still tell a modern day story that is built on the same bedrock, even if it presents differently. And I love that they're so good at that. I love that. I also thought that like they did such a good job with the variants at the end of time, right? Like the Richard E. Grant and the little boy Loki and the alligator Loki Gator. Yeah,
gloating, wields his own Mjolnir.
Yes.
Loki. Yep, all of that.
All of it.
Truthfully, Richard E. Grant as like original comics formula Loki is one of the best pieces of casting that Marvel has ever put out. That's like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark level casting.
Honestly, yes, it is. I will back you on that. I will back you on that. That is some of the most brilliant casting. I absolutely.
There's like, there's like S, A, B, C, T, or tier, whatever. It's S tier. Like he looks like him. He acts the heck out of him. His like big moment, like his big magic moment, is like the Loki moment I've been waiting for 10 years from Marvel. Oh, it was beautiful.
It was pure magic, and I love that Richard E. Grant now is in Star Wars and Marvel. I just love that so much.
He's just having a Richard E. Grantaissance is what he's doing.
He's
if you haven't watched it, if you love Richard E. Grant as Loki, go to Netflix and watch the TV show, A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's 3 seasons. It's truthfully one of the best shows that Netflix has put out, and I feel like people slept on it. It's so funny, and he plays the man with the beard and no hair or something like that. I can't remember the name of the character. He's hilarious.
This is the Neil Patrick Harris version.
That's the one. Yeah, not the Jim Carrey movie. The show. Patrick Warburton is Lemony Snicket, the narrator, and it is just extraordinarily good, from top to bottom. Cast is amazing. Story's great. Jokes are on like it's all. But if you're a fan of Richard E. Grant because of all these things that you've maybe seen him in over the past couple of years, especially Loki, go do yourself a favor and go watch Series of Unfortunate Events.
Okay, right on. But yes, the Grantaissance is real. I love how young Loki had killed Thor. That
Loki, I'm pretty sure,
Loki
is in
was
Young
great.
Avengers. That young Loki, I'm pretty sure, is in Young Avengers, which they've been like seed planting. They did it in WandaVision, they did it in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now in Loki. Like we're getting some Young Avengers something somewhere down the line. Miss Marvel's coming.
Yep,
that's Young Avengers. So they're doing their seed planting again, and I love when Marvel does that.
They always have a plan. And they're so good at that.
I know. We're just going into phase 4 now, and that they're like, and so in phase 7, we'll be doing this, and this, because they originally didn't start that way, and you can see where they had to shuffle stuff along the way, and now they're like, nope, we got a plan for everything, get on board.
This whole thing started with a post-credit scene with Samuel L. Jackson saying, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative, and it just blew up from there, and here we are. Yeah, no, it's so true. And I love that Loki is the thing that precipitates new phases of the Marvel universe, like pretty consistently, he's in the Avengers movie, right? So that's the end of phase 1 going into phase 2. He's in Ragnarok, he's sort of at the beginning of Endgame and sort of the beginning of the end there. Was it Endgame or was it Infinity War? No, it was Endgame.
No,
it was Infinity War. It was Infinity War. Yeah, my bad. But I love that he is kind of this pivotal figure over and over again, throughout. And
I
that
agree.
New phases are kind of born out of things that Loki does. And that it all started when this all started, Tom Hiddleston was a nobody.
Yeah, as many of even Chris Hemsworth was. That's Captain Kirk's dad from Star Trek, from JJ Star Trek.
It was like a piece of trivia, little known fact. This is the same obscure actor who played this obscure role.
I know. It's great. It's great. No one else is great, Frank. Where people can find us.
Our listeners are great, and they are great for finding us, and we love you all for finding us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher or TuneIn or Amazon or Google or wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for doing that. You've already found us there. If you haven't already gone this far, I would urge you to hit subscribe or follow, depending on what your app says, so that you get new episodes of Beer with Geeks each week. That would help us a lot. It would also help us a lot if you left a rating or review in that app, especially Apple Podcasts, but any app you use, leaving us a star in Overcast, giving us 5 stars in Apple Podcasts, or sitting down and actually writing out a review, would mean a lot to us. If you want to support us in other ways, you can follow us on Twitter at Beer with Geeks. You can email us, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can, of course, support us financially. If you want to take that step and help us to keep making this show at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. And you can find our other shows that Tim and I host and that our friends host over at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. And you'll see the other shows that are on our network. But those are the ways you can find us, the ways you can support us and help us to keep making Beer with Geeks.
Well said, Frank, or should I call you Frank, the variant? So we didn't really talk about Owen Wilson. He's just a love. I love Owen Wilson. He didn't say it. He didn't say it once, and that's okay. But I found him incredibly engaging in the show, and I thought his and Loki's chemistry was excellent. There's Judge Renfield, Judge Ravenclaw, Judge Ravonna, is that what it is? Judge,
you're talking about the female judge who's his boss?
Yeah, his boss,
Ravonna.
Gugu
Mbatha-Raw, who I love her from the morning show. She's great in the morning show on Apple TV Plus, and then also she's in this fantastic episode of Black Mirror called San Junipero, which is like a beloved episode in the third season of that show. I'll put links to these in the show notes, but she's fantastic in that episode. She's fantastic in the morning show, and she crushed it in this series as well. She's a fantastic actor, and I have loved her in everything I've ever seen her in. And I immediately saw her and was like, oh, that's her, I love her. So I'm a big fan of her work.
Oh, that's lovely. I've seen her in something, but I couldn't place it right off the bat. Her character, fun fact, is in love with Kang the Conqueror in the comics.
Ah, nice. Okay.
They're like an item. So that's also why I thought there was something fishy with the Timekeepers, because I'm like, but she's the one that she loves Loki, so is she in on it or whatever? But we'll see more of her, and I'm excited about that. So, but Frank, the one I'm excited about, talking to you, my friend, and as always, it has been a pleasure. So, cheers.